My evil boss denied my cancer treatment leave. Today his company is failing and he's begging me to save it. I, 35M, never thought I'd be writing this post. But life has a way of coming full circle. 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 2 lymphoma. I'd been working at this tech company for 7 years, managing their entire cloud infrastructure. The diagnosis hit me hard, but what came next hit harder. It started with persistent fatigue and night sweats. I initially blamed it on the long hours I was pulling for our company's biggest project yet, a complete infrastructure overhaul for a Fortune 500 client. We'd beaten out bigger competitors for the contract, and my boss had made it clear that this would put us on the map. I was working 70-hour weeks, managing a team of 12, and trying to ignore the growing exhaustion. My wife noticed the swollen lymph nodes in my neck first. She's always been more attentive to these things, probably because her father passed away from cancer when she was young. She insisted I get checked out. I kept putting it off, using the project as an excuse. Eventually, she made the appointment herself and refused to let me cancel it. The diagnosis came on a Tuesday afternoon. I remember sitting in the doctor's office, staring at the biopsy results while he explained the treatment protocol. 6 months of aggressive chemotherapy, possibly followed by radiation. The success rates were good if we started immediately, he emphasized. All I could think about was the project deadline looming next week. When I told my boss about needing time off for treatment, he just stared at me from across his glass desk and said, "We're in the middle of our biggest project launch. Can't you postpone it?" I thought he was joking. He wasn't. I explained that cancer treatment doesn't work that way. I'd need at least 6 months, possibly more. I had documentation from my oncologist, insurance paperwork, everything. He leaned back in his chair and told me the company was at a critical juncture and that my absence would severely impact operations. He offered me 2 weeks off instead. 2 weeks. For cancer treatment. What made it worse was that this wasn't some distant corporate executive. This was someone I'd worked closely with for 7 years. We'd gone to company retreats together, celebrated project successes, even attended each other's weddings. His wife had sent us a baby gift when our daughter was born 2 years ago. I tried going through HR, but they kept giving me the runaround. My boss had apparently convinced them that my role was too essential to grant extended medical leave. They suggested I work remotely during chemo. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The HR director, who'd always been friendly, couldn't even look me in the eye as she explained that business needs had to be considered. That evening, I went home to my wife and broke down. She worked in legal and immediately recognized that what they were doing wasn't just unethical, it was illegal. We discussed our options well into the night. She wanted to sue immediately, but I was worried about the stress of a legal battle while undergoing treatment. We decided I would quit, focus on my treatment, and deal with the legal aspects later. The next day, I handed in my resignation. My boss's face turned red as he read it. He threatened that I'd never work in the industry again, that he'd make sure of it. I simply placed my company laptop on his desk and walked out. As I cleared out my desk, most of my coworkers avoided eye contact. A few sent supportive messages later, saying they wished they could have helped but were afraid for their own jobs. What followed was tough. Really tough. The first round of chemo hit me like a truck. I could barely get out of bed for days. The medical bills started piling up, even with my wife's insurance covering most of it. Our savings took a hit, and we had to dip into our daughter's college fund. The guilt of that ate at me almost as much as the cancer. But something unexpected happened during my recovery. A former client reached out, having heard about my situation. He needed help with a small cloud infrastructure project and knew I could work on it from home. I took the job, working during my better days between treatments. The project was successful, and he referred me to others in his network. Word spread about my expertise, and soon I had more work than I could handle even while recovering. I started subcontracting to other IT professionals I trusted, taking a management role. By the time I was declared cancer-free, my consulting business was making more than double my old salary. The irony wasn't lost on me. If my boss had just given me the time off I needed, I would have likely returned to the company after treatment. Instead, his actions forced me to build something better. Throughout this time, I kept hearing bits of news about my old company. The Fortune 500 project, the one they couldn't delay for my cancer treatment, had gone badly wrong. Without proper oversight, the infrastructure had major security vulnerabilities. They lost the contract and had to pay substantial penalties. Then last week, I got a LinkedIn message from my old boss. The company is in serious trouble. Their cloud infrastructure has become a nightmare since I left. Outages, security breaches, the works. Their biggest clients are jumping ship. He wrote that he regretted how things ended and offered me a consulting contract at triple my old rate to fix their systems. I let the message sit there for days. Part of me wanted to reply with a screenshot of our old conversation about my cancer treatment. Another part wanted to accept the contract and then do a terrible job, but I'm not that person. Instead, I simply wrote back, I don't think we'd be a good fit, but I know a great bankruptcy lawyer I can refer you to. The response was swift and desperate. He called me selfish, saying I was letting my personal feelings endanger the livelihoods of hundreds of employees. He conveniently forgot how he'd endangered my actual life 3 years ago. I blocked his number and his LinkedIn profile. Yesterday, I heard from former coworkers that the company is laying off half its staff. Their stock is tanking, and there are rumors of mismanagement and potential fraud investigations. Apparently, the security breaches had exposed some creative accounting practices. My boss's LinkedIn profile now lists him as seeking new opportunities. I'm not celebrating anyone's misfortune. Many good people still work there, and I hope they land on their feet. I've actually hired 3 of my former team members as consultants for my business. But there's something poetic about how things turned out. When I needed basic human decency during the worst time of my life, he chose profit over people. Now he's learning that those two things aren't always at odds. My cancer has been in remission for over a year now. My consulting business is thriving, and I get to spend more time with my family. My daughter, now 5, barely remembers when I was sick, though she still calls my home office my getting better room. My wife has cut back her hours at the law firm to help manage our business's legal affairs. We've repaid the college fund with interest. Sometimes I think about sending my old boss a thank you note. His cruel decision pushed me to build something better for myself. But I think the bankruptcy lawyer's number was message enough. The whole experience taught me something valuable about business and life. Success built on treating people as disposable assets isn't sustainable. Every time I hire someone new or take on a client, I remember sitting in that glass office, being told my life was worth less than a project deadline. It's shaped how I run my company. We've had employees need extended medical leave, and we've always found a way to make it work. Because that's what decent human beings do. Edit. Since many are asking, yes, I did file a complaint with the Department of Labor after my treatment. The company paid a settlement, which helped cover some of my medical bills. I didn't mention it initially because the case was confidential. Edit 2. To those suggesting I helped save the company for the sake of the employees, I understand the sentiment, but the issues go far beyond technical problems. From what I've heard, there's serious financial mismanagement involved. No amount of cloud expertise can fix that. Edit 3. Thank you for all the supportive messages and awards. To clarify some common questions, yes, I documented everything during my employment. No, I didn't sign an NDA about the medical leave situation. The settlement agreement was separate. Yes, my current business has good medical leave policies written into our contracts. And no, I won't name the company. They're doing a fine job of destroying themselves without my help.